Today, I'm going to share 12 lessons that I learned in 12 years as a small business owner. Let's get started. Number one is to keep clean, honest, organized set of books. Our numbers in our business tell a story, and that story is very important to understand so that we can know how to set our pricing and structure our business and things of that nature. But what's important is that we have honest, true, accurate numbers. And so lesson number one is don't mix and mingle your personal expenses into the business and vice versa, but keep them separate. So 100% of income that comes into the business, when a customer pays you, whether it's by cash, check, card, or Zelle and all these fancy ways there's to pay conveniently now, all of that money goes into the business checking account. And then from there, any expenses for the business comes out of that account. And then we'll get to this point a little later on, but when you go to pay yourself, let's say you pay yourself a check once a month or bi-weekly, or it's direct deposited into your account through Roll by ADP or whatnot. Well, then once that money hits your personal account, then you can spend it on groceries and DoorDash or whatever you spend your money on. But keep those separate so that the business finances are accurate. That information is going to be so valuable to making well-informed decisions to run our business. Number two is to diligently know your break-even cost. And so not every month is going to be the same ever running a business, but there's those expenses each month that are the same. Perhaps you have a storage unit where you store all your equipment and your commercial vehicle insurances. And a lot of your insurances are going to be the same amount every month. And then if you have a bookkeeper that you use, that's going to be the same every month. And the softwares to run your business for a CRM and things of that nature, that's the same every month. And I have a spreadsheet, Google Sheets, where I have all my expenses every single month that are the same. And then I know exactly how much it costs every month for those fixed costs. And of course, each month there's going to be some variable cost to pay attention to, but just knowing that break even for those fixed costs. And then once you have accurate numbers over time, you can look back on the previous year and say, okay, last year on all these fixed costs, I spent X amount of dollars. You can divide that by 12 and know per month, on average, it costs this to break even to run my business. That information is super helpful, again, in understanding what we need to price our services at so that we're profitable by the time we pay all those expenses and pay ourselves and our team, and that we have a healthy profit after all of that. Number three is to pay yourself a fair market salary. And so this is a huge mistake that I made early on, and I notice when I do coaching with other small business owners, it's just a very, very common mistake, yet it's extremely costly. And so we're running our business, right? And I get it because I made the same mistake. And then you just kind of pull money out willy-nilly, owner's draw, right? When you need the money to pay rent or whatever your expenses are personally and things of that nature. And there's no rhyme or reason a lot of times. What's the best practice is to actually say, okay, you're the owner of the business, all right? If you were to go hire somebody to do what you do, whether that's out in the field doing the work as the labor or that's the administration stuff or whatever you do in your business, let's just hypothetically say you're going to go out and you're going to hire somebody and they're going to do what you do. What would you pay them? Like legitimately, for them to actually, someone who would show up every day and do a good job, what would you have to pay that person to do that? Once you know that number and it's reasonable for the market if they would go do the same job for another company, you want to start paying yourself as the owner of the business that amount. It doesn't need to be exuberant, hundreds of thousands of dollars because you're the CEO of your business. It could just be in the middle of what the market average is for that specific job, responsibility and task. But you need to get into the habit of paying yourself as the owner that fair market salary, because one day you probably are going to need to hire somebody to do that work to replace you so you're not doing, wearing all the hats. And it's also when you start paying yourself as the owner that fair market rate, you're going to really know the true condition of your business, because a lot of folks aren't calculating that into their profit and how they're really doing. And they think they're doing better than they are. But when they actually start paying themselves as the owner, then it's kind of like eye-opening, like, oh, wow, this business isn't doing as well as I thought. And then we can figure out why and actually solve those issues. And of course, you can take, and I'm going to get to this point later on about having a professional tax person in your corner that can explain all this to you, how you can, of course, pay yourself bonuses and beyond that. But it's good to consistently pay yourself kind of that steady Eddie fair market salary. Number 4 is to price your services profitably. And so it's a very common mistake. I know personally, my prices were too low when I started out. And the reason being that most business owners usually price their services too low is because we don't understand all of the actual cost it takes to run our business right away. We don't actually pay ourselves appropriately right away. And all of these situations cause our price to be too low. And it's very dangerous just to go off of what, Johnny down the street's charging, because Johnny down the street might not know his numbers and he might not be profitable. And you can't just copycat what everybody else is doing. It's okay to have a feeling out of what the market's charging in the area, but that can't dictate what your prices are. That's just a little grain of salt in the grand scheme of things. You need to know your numbers. Once you know your numbers, then you can know, okay, I have to be charging this amount to hit the profits that I want to hit in my business after I pay myself as the owner, after I pay all the labor, after I pay all the expenses. After all of that, I also want to make sure there's this amount of profit in the business after you pay everything, that it's profitable, and then you'll know what price to charge to hit all those numbers. There's some calculations that you can really dial this into. I have a e-training program called Know Your Numbers, where my friend John Pajak and I walk through what you actually can calculate the break-even rate per hour by looking at your costs throughout the entire year and then breaking that down into how many man hours in a year you actually work in your region. And then that's going to give us the price that we need to be charging per man hour to break even. Because at the end of the day, especially in the lawn care service industry, we're selling time, because the customer's not going to go mow their own yard. They're hiring us. Well, how long is it going to take us to mow, edge, trim, blow, things of that nature? So price your services profitably. And that all goes into lessons number 1, 2, and 3. Number 4, we just did price your services profitably. Number 5 is find a mentor who is further ahead in business than you. And so I am constantly, I got my goggles on, right? I'm searching around. Who do I respect that's further along in life and in business than me? And how can I learn from them? And in some cases, I just pay. I have one coach that I pay an outrageous amount of money to, but he's way further ahead in business than me, and he can look under the hood of my business and show me, hey, we could adjust this, we could improve this. And so it's so important to find somebody that can look into your business, who knows and has proven success, and they can look in your business and show you where you're possibly leaving money on the table, where possibly you're not as efficient as possible. And you just want that extra set of eyes. And I'm a paying customer. I pay multiple people who are professionals in their niche, who look into my business and tell me the honest truth of how I can improve and be more profitable. So find those mentors in your life, in your business, and make sure they're further ahead than you, meaning they're not kind of at your level. They're steps in front of you and have a proven track record of success. That's super important. Number 6, identify your niche and stay in your lane. It's so much more powerful when we're singularly focused, when we're trying to do 3 things at once, right? Oh, I'm going to do a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of this. Then we can really get stretched thin. I remember when I started my lawn business, a customer had this really huge house and said, hey, do you do gutter cleaning? And I said, of course I do gutter cleaning. And I charged them $225. I just picked that number out of thin air. No calculation behind it. Very, very brand new in business. One of my first yards. But this guy's house on the side was so tall. And so the ladder that I had didn't even work. So I had to go to the rental place, rent one of those gigantic tall ladders, haul that out there, climb up. I'm afraid of heights. We're sitting up there at this super tall spot, and the gutters were all mushy with probably hadn't been cleaned since that house was built. Ain't nobody go up that high. There was all kind of gunk up there. It was dangerous. Well, anyway, I got done with that job. By the amount of hours that we spent on that job and then the rental of the ladder, it wasn't profitable at all. And I could share with you an example of times where I just didn't stay in my lane and I'm doing all of these other services and not staying in what is my wheelhouse, where I know I can do an excellent job. I have the equipment, the knowledge, the pricing down, and it's profitable, and the customer's happy because I do a good job, and I'm happy because I'm making a profit and enjoying serving the customer. So anyway, figure out what you think is the lane that you want to pursue and get your equipment for that lane, give your marketing for that lane, and stay in that lane and don't be all over the place. All right, continuing along, 12 lessons I learned in 12 years as a small business owner. Lesson number 7 is to take care of our health and our body. So when you own a business, there's always something to do. I mean, we can always be giving our energy on improving some area of our business. That is never going to go away. You can look at the best companies, top 5, 10 companies in the world today. There are always something you can be doing. That's never going to stop. And so what's important is that we have a rhythm in our daily life where we're putting the proper nutrient-dense foods into our body, the proper hydration, setting the environments to get the best possible sleep that we can, exercising, whatever that looks like for you, whether it's out jogging or walking or in the gym and doing some weight training and some core work or whatever your cup of tea is for your fitness goals, but having a rhythm and an intentionality that we take care of our body, because when we're at optimal health and our performance in our decision making is going to be set up for success. But when we're tired and things of that nature and fatigued, and we're not going to make as excellent as decisions versus when we're well rested and we're focused and we're in excellent shape. So that's something that there was a few years in my business where I had stopped going to the gym. I was kind of just in the habit of going through drive-thrus and getting food that was not healthy. And I had to really figure out how I'm going to adjust my diet and schedule to be able to put more healthy foods inside my digestive system and also have some kind of exercise routine. Number 8 is 12 lessons I learned in 12 years as a business owner is don't be a lone wolf, get plugged into a community. And so a lot of times when we run a business, those around us, our friends and things of that nature, they're employees for companies, and that's fine. There's a lot of companies that you could be an employee at and be an absolute rock star, all-star, have a great career in life. A lot of times, if you don't talk to others who are small business owners, then nobody really gets it because it's hard to explain to somebody who doesn't understand the immense high pressure that we have on our shoulders as running a business with just so much responsibility. A lot of times we can just kind of retreat and do our own thing because nobody really gets it unless they have a business or things of that nature. And if you watch like the video of an animal out in Africa, so to speak, like a lion, if they're by themselves, the hyenas might come and try to attack them. But if they're in a group, ain't no one messing with them. And it's important that we're in a group. We're in a community, a healthy community. I know I have a friend. He doesn't own a business. He's an employee, but him and his wife are very successful. And, we'll go out to lunch every now and again, or he'll call me frequently, like once a week or whatnot, and just check in and see how I'm doing. And I can talk to him authentically and let him know the good, bad, and the ugly and just have that community. And so anyway, don't be the lone wolf or you'll get picked off. Be in a community. Find people who you can share your life with, share your business with, that will keep you accountable to your goals and check in on you and things of that nature. So that's very important. Number 9, 12 lessons I learned 12 years as a small business owner is to serve our customers with excellence. And so this is so important that we really keep a focus on our customer and that we do an excellent job, whether it's a service or a good that we're providing towards them, that it's excellent. And as soon as we get distracted from that, our business is in great jeopardy and danger because, and we need to be focused on all the behind the scenes efficiencies and things of that nature so that our business is operating on all cylinders. But sometimes we can get so focused on us and what we got to do for the business that we forget it's all about the customer. It's all about serving and providing the best service for the customer. And so this is a lesson that I have noticed recently, how much I revere the customer and making sure that they're happy and well served. That's just something I noticed when I started my business. I was just kind of all focused on me and how I needed money to pay my rent. And it was all kind of me centered instead of really focusing on my customer. And so nowadays, my paradigm has just shifted to really focus on the customer and making sure they are very, very happy and I'm serving them well. Alrighty, number 10 is to utilize the internet and social media to your business's advantage. And so we are being trained as consumers. If we go to buy something or consider buying something, we typically will subconsciously, whether we realize we're doing it or not, check that product or service's reputation. And so Amazon being the biggest store in the world, they train us to kind of, before you check out, you want to check and see how many ratings and reviews does this have? What kind of ratings and reviews does this product have? And then that correlates as well with services on Google. Someone types in, lawn care near me or whatever they're typing into the search, and then they're going to click on the potential company and they're going to look at the ratings. They're going to look at the reviews. They're going to see the social proof. So we need to be mindful that that's more than likely what our customers are going to do when they encounter us online. So we want to put ourselves in position, A, that they find us online, and B, that the reputation is excellent, that there's a quantity of reviews and there's an excellence with our pictures we're posting and things of that nature. So a lot of this is free. Google My Business is free. You can put pictures on Google My Business. You can get reviews, and the more reviews and that they're 5 stars and things are well said about your company, the better that goes when a possible customer sees that online. You want them to know, like, and trust you. And so utilizing the internet and social media to our business's advantage is absolutely huge. Number 11 is to hire a reputable, trustworthy financial team. So this can consist of a bookkeeper, an accountant, a tax planner, a financial planner, and some services offer multiple. For example, my tax planner is also my financial planner. They have a CFP, Certified Financial Planner credential, which is difficult to get, but they do an excellent job of helping me understand my numbers as well as my bookkeeper does, making sure everything's organized and that I understand the reports. That when I started my business, I didn't understand how to read a profit and loss statement with the particular itemized things that I needed to have focused on in my business. I didn't understand the balance sheet and the cash flow statement or statement of cash flows. All that stuff was foreign to me. But having a good bookkeeper is a valuable lesson I've learned because they help me to understand my profit and loss, including my owner's pay on my profit and loss, what my business is truly doing profitable wise, and what adjustments I need to make to be more profitable. And my certified financial planner helps me to have a mindset of wealth building. And that leads me into my 12th point, and that is to have a tax savings account. And so these all kind of go together, point 11 and point 12, of a good tax planner is going to help you understand when your taxes are due and, to the best ability that they have, a ballpark number of what amount's going to be due, forecasting that so you can appropriately save those funds. So when the taxes are due, whether it's at the state level or federal level, that you are prepared, meaning you see it coming, you know when the due date is, you know the amount you need to have saved, and you actually get in a routine and a rhythm to save that money so that when the tax bill is due, there's no anxiety or stress because you have saved the money along the way. And so I wish someone would have sat me down my first year in business and explained to me, you need a separate account for tax savings. You need to take a percentage of the revenue or profit, depending on how you want to do your calculation, and you need to consistently put that into that tax savings account so that when your taxes are due, you have the money saved. And so I say all that to encourage you to research a good tax planner that's reputable, that will help you, has a heart of a teacher, that will help you understand all the dynamics of the taxes because they're constantly changing. But what's not changing is that you're going to owe money more than likely, and you need to have a plan to make sure that there's no surprises, that you have been diligent to save the proper funds to pay those on time. And so all these 12 kind of tie together, because to pay your taxes on time, you need to have the money saved. To pay yourself as the owner, with margin in your business, you need to charge the proper pricing. To charge the proper pricing, you need to know your break-even cost. So all of these kind of intermix. They're not like isolated, but they're 12 lessons that I've learned as I've built a business, and I'm continuing to learn every single day more and more about business. So I could have done 99 lessons I learned in 12 years of business, but I think 12 just kind of made the title work. So I hope this has helped you, and I hope as you continue to grow your business that it becomes even more profitable and more successful.